Hey everyone, welcome to our first tutorial Tuesday. I'm excited to do these for you guys. I've had several people reach out to me asking me to give help with some editing or some tips or wondering how I edit some of my photos. So I thought this would be just a good little first step in getting some information out there for you guys. I offer more detailed tutorials as well as one-on-one mentoring. So if you're interested in any of that, please just shoot me an email and we can go from there. So today for our first lesson, I thought what we would work on is levels, and I thought this would be a great photo to start with because I know spring is right around the corner. This was last spring. This is my little one. I drug her out to this patch of wildflowers that I found over on a trail in our neighborhood. So I am doing all my editing in Photoshop Elements. I'm working in 13 right now. So just so you know, you don't have to buy the full-blown Photoshop. To me, Elements does everything I need it to do. There are a few things that I wish I had Photoshop for, but I can usually find a workaround in Elements if I find something I want to do in the full-blown Photoshop. So to start off, I've made a few duplicate layers of my image, and I'm going to be using shortcuts. If you're not familiar with shortcuts, Google that, learn that first, because once you learn that, everything else will go so much faster. So I'm going to bring up my levels panel. I'm on a Mac, so it was Command L, or you could come up here and get your layer or get your levels. We have different channels here, and in our levels, this little arrow over here to the far left, this is going to control all of our blacks in our photo. And you can see this photo is a little overexposed, just because I was exposing more for her skin tones, because I know I can kind of bring some of this down in Photoshop. We don't want it too bright, because if it's too bright, then we can't recover some of that detail. This middle arrow is your midtones, and this one over here is your whites. So we have a lot of whites in this picture, which is mainly the sky and then all the highlights we have throughout. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to darken it a little. So I'm going to start with my blacks, and I'm going to drag that down. And you can see how it's bringing down the whole tone. It's making it a little darker. Now it's making her dark right here, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just going to kind of drag it. I'm looking more at my background, kind of making it where I need it to be. Once I've done that, then I can come up with a layer mask, and I can paint off where I don't want that, which is mainly on her. So I'm going to go somewhere around 50 to start off with, and I'm just going to take that off of her. Okay. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to merge my layers just so I have room to work, and then I'm going to duplicate that again. I always duplicate layers, that way if I mess up, I can just trash that layer and I still have my previous step before, so I don't have to start completely over. Alright, so now I notice, and again with it being spring and all these greens and yellows, I notice her skin tone has a little too much yellow and green in it. So again, with my levels, I'm going to come up here in this channel option right here. It gives us red, blue, and green. So I'm going to take out some of this green, so I'm going to work on my green channel. Now if I drag my midtones to the left, we're going to get more green. However, if I'm trying to take some of that green out, I'm going to take it to the right, and it's going to bring in some reds, because red is opposite of green. So I'm just going to kind of bring it down to about right there. I'm just kind of watching her skin. It is changing all my greens. If I zoom out, you can see that it's adjusted all my greens. And actually that's not too bad. I kind of like that. So I may just leave that there. If I wanted to, I could come in and add a little more red. Now I could work on the red channel and drag it to the left, but to me, working with in opposites actually kind of works better for me. So if I was taking red out, I would work on the red channel, but since I'm taking green out, I'm going to do the opposite over here. All right, and I can go back and forth, so That's made it a little dark, so I'm going to bring in some more light. Go back to my RGB channel and bring in a little more light. So I think I like that there. Now, I did like this step before. I think that's a little too much red everywhere else. I kind of like that better here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer mask and inverse it. And then I'm going to paint in just kind of over her skin. All right, so if I merge down, you can see already what we started with and where we are now. I'm going to do a few more things here just to kind of make her features pop. I'm going to, again, I duplicated layers. I'm going to do a Gaussian blur. I usually keep it somewhere between 15 and 20. I don't want it too blurry so that you can't tell it's a face. So actually, since with the way this picture is, I'm probably going to leave it about right there. Again, layer mask, inverse, and then around 30% I'm going to come in, and that's just giving her a slight blur. Notice I'm staying away from the hard lines of her face around her nose, her lips. There's a little hair right here that's kind of coming over her nose, so I'm going to blur that out just so I don't see that as much. I could come in and kind of blur a few of these hairs. Now her face to me is still a little too bright, so layer mask again with my levels, or sorry, duplicate layer with my levels, and I'm just going to drag that down a little. So again, this is just something that the more you play with it, the more you kind of realize what it can do, and the more you'll get it to work for you. So I really encourage you to get in and play with that layer mask, just because it is a great tool to really help you with your photos in so many ways, as far as tone, the lightness, the brightness, all of that. So now I'm just going to kind of finish up, do a few quick little pops here and there. I would keep working on this, but eventually end up with what I want. So again, there's our before, there's our work in progress, and I've gone through and edited this previously, and I ended up with this. So I've sharpened it, I've kind of worked with her skin tones a little more, I dropped in a sky. Again, that's all stuff that I can show you how to do more one-on-one. This is just a quick introduction to our levels. So again, you can kind of see, if I hide this, what we started with and where we ended up. So if you have any other questions about levels, please feel free to shoot me an email, and I will see you next time.